My name is Mitchell if you're new here, and today I'll be talking about the disciplines of love. So, this video is inspired by Tony Robbins. So, today is going to be slightly different. The only reason why is because I'm trying to get a better, deeper understanding about what's going on. I'm going to share some of my experiences of what I've experienced and what I do know based off this topic, but sometimes it's not about always knowing what you're about to say, but it's about learning in the process too. It makes us human. So today I will be talking about disciplines of love, and I do YouTube lives every Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern time, Saturdays at 12 p.m. Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. Did I say 7? 7 Tuesday 7 p.m. Pacific 10. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, I do have a recap, but I won't have specific slides like I usually do. um I am going to be talking about a total of 5 disciplines of love. I'm pretty sure there's more than that now. And then I will talk about the 3 P's, okay? And for you, and I'm not talking, I will talk about the 3 P's if you're stuck, all right? So I'll let that imagination go wild. It's an open discussion today. I want to know what you guys are thinking. It will also help me too as well, right? Get a better understanding. So it's a collaborative thing, right? If you feel like you know a little something, share it. And if I agree, great. If I don't, I will let you know. Mitchell will always keep it real with you. But anyways, I do have a recap, and I'm going to be talking about you can't win love through an argument. So that's a fact, right? Men who understands women don't argue with them. You can have disagreements, but don't argue, right? Arguing shows that you're insecure, or insecurity, right? And behind anger is fear. So are you in a more collaborative mindset, or are you more in a competitive mindset? That all depends on where your mental state is at, how emotionally resilient you are to being uh getting your buttons pressed, right? And it depends on the type of person that you're around too as well. But it's being able to emotionally regulate your own feelings, and I think that's very important. So the slide will be on don't take it personal. Do not take it personal. Okay. All right, so let's start out with a quote, which is be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. And there's a very special someone that I've met, and this very special someone is one of the most purest kind of person that I've known, and inspired me even to this day. What this person does on a regular, I feel like I have to learn it. I have to like dissect it and like why, understand why, right? So some people are a little bit more natural at it, and some people, you know, might not have a as good as of an upbringing, but educated themselves to understand, right? And so, hey, we all have our struggles, right? No one's perfect. I'm definitely far from it, but I'm doing the best that I can, and I hope you are too. All right. So let's start out. And that quote was from Socrates. So, anyways, those who stand on tiptoes do not stand firmly. Those who rush ahead don't get very far. Those who try to outshine others dim their own light. Okay? So it's about not taking things too personal, okay? And you look, if you ever find yourself in a situation where you feel like you're angry, before you scream and before you react, because that's what happens when life pressures you. It's kind of it just squeezes you a little bit. And when when life pressures you, what comes out? What comes out? And depending on what comes out, that's how you're going to be judged, right? That's a determining factor on whether or not that person wants to be around you, right? So if life pressures you and all you do is scream and yell and blame other people, like this is your fault, then yeah, then you're gonna get a different result compared to somebody that's like being pressured, and you're like, you know what, why am I mad? Why am I mad? uh I'm not saying don't be mad. It's a human emotion. Do not become less of a human. That's what I'm saying. But refrain yourself. What's going on? Why are you upset? What is triggering you so much, right? We all love that word trigger. So really understanding that and really taking a step back and understanding it from that person's perspective, right? And that correlates to love, and it's a discipline. Disciplines means that you do it no matter what. You do it no matter what because that's a discipline. It's kind of like, look, you have a discipline to eat healthy. You have a discipline to want to live a better life, right? Hey, it's not like one day you decide to wake up and be like, I don't want to go to work and still want to get paid. Like, that's not how things work. It's a discipline. You still got to show up, and depending on how you show up, that's what matters. So, anyways, now for a guy, if she's having a bad time, ask her questions. Things happen, right? Women, they're more emotional creatures, so when they do get upset, ask her questions like, "What's bothering you, baby? What, like, tell me what's going on. Let me know. Don't leave anything out." Right? And if she really wants to be left alone, don't take it personal, because that's one of the this is the slide. Don't take it personal. It's not about you. It is not about you. So don't take it personal. Take a step back and let her be. Because what happens? Women are like the weather. The sun will always shine, but from time to time, the clouds do get in the way. All right. So don't be upset. It's not about you. Okay. Don't take it personal. She will eventually, if you give her time, she will come back. She'll need to feel safe to open up to you. So that's a very important thing, right? And this is the core essence of feminine energy, is allowing her to open up, allowing her to come to you as she pleases. Women always have mood swings, Chevlin. Yes, and I think it's more allowed, right, for a woman to have a little bit of that. But when a guy acts like that, it's like, yo, this guy obviously does not have this shit together, right? He might have money, he might have this, he might have a lot of nice things, but you're a bitch, and I don't want to be with a bitch. I don't care how much money this bitch has, right? So it's about being emotionally centered, and I think that you're. What did Jim Rohn say? He said something along the lines of like, your bank account never far exceeds, or something in that regards, your personal development. Meaning, work harder on yourself than you do your job, right? And I feel like most people kind of lack that. They go to work, they do this, they do that, and they don't really have anything going on for themselves that excites them. That when they wake up, this is what I want to do. I was talking to JR or Dom earlier, and I was like, yo, I know you're at work, you're doing your thing at in the military and stuff, and I'm proud of you, and thank you for serving too as well. But I was like, you know what's funny? Every single time I talk to you, and maybe it's because the relationship that I have with him, but I was like, I've never really once heard you talk much about your job as much as you are speaking of who you are becoming. And who you are becoming is, even to this day, you're trying to become a better person, not only just providing content, but really self-improving yourself. And I was like, I see that, and I reflect on that too as well. I was like, every time I talk to you, it's about this, which is like content, or whether we're talking about content, or hey, you know what, I'm stuck in this area, how can I become better? Like, that's great. And so, you know what, there's a bright future ahead of you, JR, if you're watching this, or you're watching this on a replay. Yeah, man. So anyways, sorry, I went a little tangent, but yeah, so don't take things personal. We 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 don't take things personally. It gives you more power over our thoughts and feelings, okay? And so that's a very important thing. When you don't take things too personal, it's not about you, okay? Just realize that you're not that important, and that's okay, right? And everybody wants to feel very important. And look, we're not that important. The world does not revolve around us, and you don't own the damn road, okay? Just because I stopped at a yellow light and you got mad at me because I didn't want to run a red light or a yellow light, don't be mad at me. You don't own it, okay? So don't take it personal, okay? Um yeah, it gives you power over your thoughts and feelings. It allows you control over yourself. And that's the only thing that you do have control over, which is yourself. You can't control another person. And that's part of the 5 discipline of love, which is freedom, right? It's allowing them to come, allowing them to be themselves. That's freedom. So I'll elaborate a little bit more about that too as well. Um, so let's see. Okay, so we recognize that things happen for you and not to you. Okay, and that's not taking things personal. Okay, and which is one of the three P's that I was talking about, right? And ladies, I know, there's a fourth P that y'all like. You know what I mean? Anyways, example, I'm never going to do that with you ever again, right? Um, when a lady says that, there's two ways to respond, right? Oh, is that how you feel? Is that how you feel about it now? Kind of like jokingly, right? Having fun, being playful, being banter, right? Or or you could get upset and be serious about it and be like, wait, what do you mean, huh? Right? And that's kind of being throwing you as a guy off center. And women will always test you, and I said that countless times. The woman will always test you, and it's because it's feminine energy to have that 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 lack of certainty or uncertainty in them. It's kind of like, well, is he the same guy as he was before, right? I want to know, right? That's girls, all or women, they always want to know, right? Tell them some. Hey, baby, I got something to tell you, but you know what? Never mind. Never mind. No, I'm just gonna go. She's gonna run to you and drop everything that she's doing. Okay. Oh yeah. So there's that. So that was my recap. You know, don't take things personal, right? And be kind. For everyone you meet is always fighting a hard battle, and you don't know. And especially the people that are like the happiest, that's always putting a smile on their face. Um, they're struggling the most too. And so you don't know what other people are going to. So if you're not sure, be kind, right? Be positive. Now, I know I said I don't have official slides, but I did make one in specific, which is, you know, love is playful and fun. Love is light. Love is allowing. Love is an act, right? To love is a choice too. So it's being able to love, but you have to understand what it is. Okay, and everybody just wants to have a good time. Everybody just wants to have a good time. If she's joking with you and you're not having it, she's basically trying to pull you back into this playful mood so that you don't take things too serious, right? And when she likes you or she's in love with you, she will always want to pull you back in because she wants to feel you as her man, right? Mentally, physically, and spiritually. And so she might say things to bring you back in, like, oh, you know, like how a guy would say to a lady too, is like, you being a brat right now, you being a little bit of a brat, but it's okay right now, I can deal with it, right? Just right now though. Okay. And you know, a lady might say something like, you're acting a little like a little kid or whatever, and then you're like, huh, what do you mean, like what kind of kid? How old is he? You know, like, be playful, be banter, you know, banter instead of taking it to, what do you mean, you saying I'm a kid? What's wrong with you? Why would you say that, right? That's serious. We don't want that. Love is not too serious. Okay. When a relationship becomes too serious, it feels like it's more of a chore, right? And that's the last thing you want to go back to, right? It's heavy and it doesn't sit well. Okay, so I'm giving you an example. So imagine you're at a party and the party gets, you know, everyone's having a good time, you know, kids running around, whatever party you're at, and everyone's trying to have a good time, but yet something happens and something triggers something inside of you, and you get too serious, or someone does something and it's like very serious, and you ever hear that ooh in a party setting, and everyone just kind of like the energy just drops, you know what I'm talking about, like ooh, right? And I'm not talking about party fouls, I'm talking about like, are they arguing like in public? Like, that's kind of uncomfortable, right? Now imagine being in that party, and how does that make you feel? Like, does it make you feel like, oh, I can't wait for the cake? Or is it more like, yeah, you know what, maybe I'm just gonna pick up some of my things and go, right? Because no one wants to be in that type of setting. It's uncomfortable, it's too serious. So the same thing applies when it comes to a relationship as well. Shevlin, you said relationship that is too serious, it's boring, predictable, like, that's what happened next, right? And also, if you know it happens consistently, you're going to expect it to happen, right? So it's kind of like, uh, I bet, like, I better behave because that person cannot. It's like walking on eggshells. If they're not having a good time, well, guess what? I'm gonna have a shitty time. So I have to make sure that that person that I'm around is having a good. I don't want to be around that person. Hell no. Get away. Do your own thing. Keep that energy where you at. Okay. I'm over here having my good time. But be 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 real with me. Do you want to be in that setting where you're always walking? I have to make sure that that person is not mad. I have to make sure. It sucks. I don't want to do that. It's like I'm babysitting. I don't want to babysit. I want to have a good time. If I want to babysit, I watch a kid. All right, that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, and so love is playful, love is fun, love is light. Okay, it's not serious. It's not heavy. It doesn't sit heavy where it's like, damn, I gotta be serious. Okay, and there's a difference. There's a very big difference between because people's like, well, when can I be serious? It's like, don't just don't be serious. Okay, and let me explain, because you're like, there are serious matters, Mitchell. There's serious matters. Yes, I get it, but there's always a different way of saying it and different tone. Okay, and this is what I mean by that. Okay, so I understand serious talks. I understand it. I understand that you can have a serious talk, but it doesn't have to be heavy. And what I mean by that is something that's heavy, like, okay, you can have deep, meaningful conversations with somebody and still have it light. It's meaningful. It means a lot to you. And it feels like it's serious, but it's not serious. It's not heavy. It doesn't sit like it's not serious. You know what I mean? But it's like, okay, this is a deep, meaningful conversation, and I understand you. I'm hearing you out, but it's still light, if that makes sense. I don't know how to explain it. It's deep, but it's not heavy. Okay, so I want you guys to understand it. So talking about, say, for example, talking about things that could be considered serious, right, to your kids, or maybe even talking about having kids with your significant other. It's kind of like, well, hey, I'm thinking about, hey, you guys been together for X amount of years, and you're planning to have a kid. You don't have to be serious about it. I mean, I get that it is a serious matter, but you can still have deep, understanding, meaningful conversations and be like, hey, if we were to have a kid, like, what are some of the things, right? How much do we need financially? Because kids ain't cheap, but I understand that. Like, I think it will be great for us to have a kid. I think having the next step will be important for us in our relationship. How do you feel about that? Do you want kids, right? But you see how that's not heavy? It's not like, look, hey, yo, it's already been 3 years, 4 or 5 years. I've been with you. I still don't have a ring, and I want kids, and my time's running out. It's like, but you see the difference of how that's heavy versus the other one is not heavy, but it's still a deeper topic, if that makes sense to you guys. Chevelin, let's see. Okay, it makes you feel like a robot as well. Serious talks can be light, exactly, right? In the right place, in the right timing, in a good mood, right? Same thing applies. It's that's why love is light. Okay, and of course, I'm going to be diving into the 5 disciplines of love. And this is where I would love to have you guys come in and maybe share some of your insights too as well, because maybe what I know now will be different in, let's just say, a year or 5 years. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like reading a book for the first time and rereading it again 2 years later or something like that. And then you're like, wow, okay, this book that I read before, I understand it better now. So it's being open, being vulnerable, right? Having that courage, which kind of leads me to my first discipline. It's leading into it, which is the discipline of unconditional love and compassion. Okay. The discipline of unconditional love and compassion. It's called discipline because you don't always feel unconditional, and you don't always feel compassion. What's up? What's up, JR? Love talking to you, man. Um, yeah, you don't always feel it. That's why we call it a discipline, right? It's you're not always gonna feel motivated to want to do something. That's why it's called a discipline, right? So that's why having a system, one, you have a goal, but having a system on how you do things, right? If you don't have a system, how do you show up? If I didn't have a system on, hey, look, guys, I'm gonna come in every Tuesdays at 7 p.m. and Saturdays at 12. If I don't have a system, I won't have any content for you guys. So that's really important for me to have a specific system. Like, hey Mitchell, there's a deadline at least for yourself to, one, you have to have a topic in mind. Number two, you have to know what you're talking about, right? And be specific about it too as well, right? And I know I like to rant every now and then. Okay, it happens. We're human. But you have to have a system. Okay? So that's why it's called a discipline. Now, love is an act. Love is allowing. It's not forceful, right? Forceful feels like that person is losing part of their freedom. An example is like I was talking about that serious talk, that heavy look. It's been 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and time's running out. My biological time is running out. I need to have kids and da 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 da. But it's more like, hey, um, we've been together for this many years. My time is going against me of having kids. It gets a little unsafe after a certain age. And if you're a woman talking about this, and yeah, so yeah, how do you feel about having kids? And if they don't want kids, and you want kids, and you're stuck with that, then maybe the best choice isn't to be with that person because you want your own babies, right? So it's knowing your values, and that's the importance of having values. I see Cheeky Julie. I see her. She don't even say hi. She just laughs. Miss you too, Jr. I know you are busy. At the same time, you're having fun. Hope you see you again. Hi, hi. I need a sip. I gotta get ready for her nonsense. Mm. All right. So the discipline of unconditional love and compassion means that you always put your lover first. That's a rule. Okay, and that's from Tony. And that's a rule. You put them first, right? Because remember, when I was discussing about whenever you feel like I'm not getting enough, or I'm not receiving this, I'm not getting that, or even an example is like, I want my kids to be like this. This is still about you. It's not about them, right? But putting your lover first means you put them first. Love is giving. Love is an act, right? And if you're there to always try to take and receive, and that's all you're really doing, and then you only give when you receive, then what are you really? What are you? Is this a transactional love relationship? Like, what's going on? I'll do this if that person do that. No, you go in there with the intent of, hey, you know what? Benefit without the doubt. I'm just gonna do this. Okay, I'm gonna give as much love as I can. So why would you want to hold back your gift of giving love? Okay, now it's not about you. And when you finally develop skills and heartfelt understanding, you become conscious of your partner's inner self. So you get to understand them. So when you put them first, you get to understand them. Okay, and that's what real love is. Okay, and I don't. People can have their definitions. I've heard things like, even on Facebook, when people are like, "Oh, if you love your man, you would do this and do that for him." And I see girls in the comments, ladies in the comments, they're like, "Oh, he don't deserve that." And I'm like, "Okay, no one will ever say anything that's not a direct reflection of how they feel about themselves at the moment." So somewhere along the lines, when she said that, somewhere in the past, she got hurt. And that's why she's reflecting back on that, right? But if you're in a much better place and you have a person that you truly care about, you want to give. You want to give to that person. You want to make sure that that person that you care about unconditionally, you're there for them, and it's not about you. But that's a relationship. It goes this. You're there to give. You're there to give. Okay. Now, the moment you're too focused on yourself, I this, me that, right? I'm not getting this. They're not giving me that, right? You're not focused on a relationship anymore. You're too focused on yourself. And that is not a relationship. That's not. And people go into a relationship thinking me, 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 me. I can't. Why am I not getting this? Why am I not receiving that? It's like, look, what are you in it for? If if what you want is sex, then hey, maybe go out, find a hooker, get an escort. I don't know, do something, right? But if you want to feel connected to that special someone, it takes time. It takes understanding. It takes you shutting the hell up and listening. Now, the number two is the discipline of absolute courage and vulnerability, and this is what kind of resonated with me a lot. Um, the discipline of absolute courage and vulnerability. So before I do start, I want you guys to think about it. Like, what does that mean to you? And how would it, what does absolute courage and vulnerability mean? What's courage to you? What is courage? And when I first thought about courage, I was thinking about maybe showing up, right? Showing up. But showing up is like more of an umbrella term. And courage, I was thinking like, oh, what is courage in a relationship? What is courage? And I thought maybe courage is, being able to to talk to that person even if it's uncomfortable. And that's my definition as of now, okay? And you love no matter what and commit to the absolute truth. It means that you open up. The courage to love, right? Because you want to be honest, you want to be truthful. Courage to open up. And, this is what it means to me to have courage, right? Courage to be open, to open up and speak about something that's uncomfortable to you and talk about it like an adult. And I think that's being able, hey, but it doesn't have to be heavy. Okay, I get that topic could be, it could be a deeper conversation, but it doesn't have to be heavy. Oh, everyone left. What? You know what that means, Cheeky. Uh, you scaring all my viewers away. Anyways, um, so yeah, being courage, yeah, having that courage to open up, speaking when it's uncomfortable, and it's not the best. It's I don't like confrontation. Okay, I don't like it, but I know it is better than leaving it left unsaid. It's better than that, right? But there's always tone. There's always words that you can say, right? I think there was that old saying of sticks and stones may hurt my bones, but words could never hurt me, or something like that. Yeah. But yeah, words, tone, yeah, they do matter depending on who's saying it too. So having that courage, whether it's your lover or your friend or your family, whatever it is being able to speak about it and be open to be vulnerable on that, right? And like I mentioned before, like the idea of how someone could hold back their love and gift and instead inflict pain. Like, I'm going to do this. I'm going, whether it's verbal, right? Verbal abuse, physical, sexual, like not any type of abuse is no good. But some people think like, oh, if she or he doesn't do this for me, I'm going to do that to them. It's like, then that's not love. It's not love. If anything, it's not courage. It's cowardice. It doesn't take any courage to yell at and blame someone. So, if anything, being able to have that courage to muster up some ability to be like, hey, look, this is what's going on. This is what's been on my mind. I'd like to talk to you about it. Will you be okay? Right? And allowing them to come back. Come back. Let's say you're in a relationship and you love that person. Why is it always the current person who suffers because the other party always reflect on his or her? What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that, Sheldon? Okay, I'm trying to understand that. Let's just say you're in a relationship and and you love that person, yeah, I love that person, why is it always the current person, current as in the person that's reflecting, uh current current person who suffers because the other party, okay, the other person always reflect on his own past. Maybe they have some insecurities of themselves that they haven't let go of. And that's why, remember I was talking about, like, as you are improving yourself, and let's just say you met at the same level, or maybe even you felt less than them at some point, and then you're like, you know what, I want to be better, I want to live a better, happier life for myself. So then you start educating yourself, you start learning how to emotionally regulate your feelings. You don't just yell when you're upset, and you let things, and you start surrounding yourself with better people, right? And your life, hey, you start having nicer things because you have a nicer job or whatever it is. Things start to, escalate for you. I'm not saying that you don't have any circumstances that kind of hold you back, but hey, you doing it, you're crushing it for yourself. And that person always just kind of blames, and like, there's one, it's on them, and there's nothing that you can do about them. And part of the discipline of love is freedom, and it's the freedom of allowing them to be who they are. And you have two options: you can either accept them or you can walk away. But you don't try to change somebody, because one, it's unfair for that person, and two, it is not your job, it is not your job to change nobody. So it's understanding, like, does that person match well with me, and are we compatible? Do I want to live in a relationship where it feels like I always have to be the first one that does something, right? Does that person reciprocate, like, what's going on? And it and now what I'm saying is, yes, it's always better if she comes to you, meaning, if she loves you and she wants your attention, it is always better. So in a relationship, when it becomes 50-50, you're pushing her away as a guy. She needs to come to you a bit more than you go to her, okay? That's what we call over pursuing. And guys, they tend to have this thing where Coach Corey Wayne talked about, which is the illusion of action. What's Puff? The illusion of action, right? And it's always better when she comes to you. But when she does come to you, it's not about, you don't push them away, but it is always better when it's her choice, because no amount of me liking you will want you to come back. No amount. You don't come to, are you sure? I left that person because I felt unfair to me, because I did not do it to him. Yeah. So it's kind of like, oh, okay. So I get what you're saying now, Chevelin. That person is holding on to their past. It's because they took it too personal. Okay, and that's one of the three P's. I don't come to you, mention, dude. No, you don't. No, and I love the freedom. Uh, and okay, Sheldon, I could answer that, but it's gonna be in the three P's that I will be talking about. So that will be, after my 5 disciplines, I will have that. Okay. So anyways, let me go on with this absolute courage, but hold that thought and hold that question in mind. It will be with the 3 P's. Okay. So the idea of holding your gift back, the gift of giving, the love, that caring, like, how are you? How was your day? Like, talk to me, like, what's going on, right? Like that's pure, that's genuine. And it's, ask when you gotta ask when you're feeling serious, or not serious, when you're being genuine about that person. People love people that can listen to them. Let's see. And I'm tired of always the same reason that person always giving to me. What's that reason, if you don't mind sharing? No woman should chase anybody. I don't think it's chasing. When women likes you, they will put themselves into your orbit. Like, look, if Channing Tatum was right there when you found out that he's in your neighborhood or town or whatever, right? He's in downtown, wherever you at, and wouldn't you be like, you know what? I'm gonna go take a sneak peek, right? They put themselves into the orbit. Love yourself first. Yeah, always. And you should. And I love myself first, right? If my lady ever asks me, who do you love? I'm like, me. I love myself, because if I don't love myself first, how can I give you my love? And number two is, well, I think this is kind of interchangeable between loving myself and having my purpose, is being able to do what I need to do no matter what. And I got to do it. That's for me. So that's my purpose. I love myself. I have to go for what I'm going for. And then number three is, yes, then it's you. Okay? Then it is you. Yeah. So to answer that question, yeah, you're not number one, okay? And that kind of hurts them. It was a trust issue. Yeah, that's on him. Chevlin, that's on him. But that's within the three P's that we'll be talking about after this. Let's see. So, okay. Absolute courage and vulnerability. So be present for your lover, even during the painful situations, right? Don't don't just be physically present, be fully present, giving your lover your undivided attention and focus. Okay, you have the power to focus on how your relationship either flourishes or spiraling down, right? Out of control. There is a choice there. Okay, if you want to love. Now, just because you gave it to somebody that maybe didn't appreciate it, it doesn't mean that the next person shouldn't. But like I said, that's gonna go down to the three P's, okay? And Chevlin, I didn't forget your question. Anytime you lose trust, interest, or commitment, you move a little bit closer towards behaviors of criticism, rejection, and yeah, you just stay connected, okay? Just stay connected, because you stay away from that, you move a little bit towards that, and you get, I'm gonna criticize you, I'm gonna blame you. This is you, this is your fault. Like that ain't love. Mm-mm. Love is about, hey, I'm sorry, not I'm sorry you, right? I'm sorry I made you feel that way. I didn't know when I said that it was, it was my mistake. Instead of saying I'm sorry I made you upset. You see that power in that? Say I did something wrong. Okay? What I do? I don't know. Just give me some. What Kiki, talk to me. Uh Kiki, I'm sorry I made you feel that way, versus knowing and owning it and putting it on back on you. Hey Kiki, I'm sorry I did that. It was my mistake. Let me make it up. Let me make it up. You love cherry pie. I'm gonna go get some cherry pie. Be right back. Right. Yeah, just one, keep it light, but two, be honest, be genuine with your apologies. And anything that you do, it has to be genuine. And that's why what I'm teaching is, it's not a tactic. It's not tips and tricks. It's, yes, it is helpful, but it's more of a philosophy, right? Where it's like, oh, let me just spend. Oh, she didn't text me. I'm not gonna text her, because that's the game she want to play. I'm gonna play her game. Like, and then when one person wins, the other loses, and you don't. There's no winning in a relationship like that. There's no. It's about giving in, but it's, you as a guy, you have to understand how to open her up, and you as a woman have to understand, hey, maybe he's a little bit stressful. Maybe I should not unload everything onto him sometimes, not all at once. Apple pie is better. Okay, sometimes I want cherry, okay, but I do like apple. Matter of fact, I want some pie. Anyways, let's talk about number three. All right, let's talk about number three, the discipline of knowing the truth. The truth is, it's a no blame game. You don't blame, okay? There's an art to expressing mild upset without creating it into a bigger problem. Now, I understand women, ladies in here, I know you're watching. You're like, what the hell you mean, Mitchell? What the hell you mean? And that's part of feminine energy. They get this little small problem, right? I know you hate me for this, but I don't care. You make this little small problem, boom, you make it huge. You make it big. Now, as a guy, sometimes, sometimes your lady acts a little out of control. It's all good, right? Shh, just shrink it down a little bit. Make that big problem that she has into a smaller problem. That's masculine energy, right? Staying cool, calm, collected. not being upset, not being perturbed, not being bothered. That's very important. Okay, so it's a no blame game. Okay, it's knowing the truth. However, when something goes wrong, you must express yourself spontaneously and from the heart. So it has to be genuine. It's crucial that you set the context carefully and anything that you share. So refrain from using words and tone that assumes blame, like you're blaming them for their mistake. So it's understanding how they what they're going through, right? And that goes back to the previous to the previous discipline, which is courage and vulnerability. Allow them to be themselves. What's going on? Listen. And if you're a guy and you understand, you don't try to fix her problems. You listen to her, like, baby, what's going on? Okay, I'm on your side. Okay, it's not you did this, you fucked up. But then again, after, let's just say after the time passes, you'd be like, hey, it's been happening, and I think I have a solution. Will you are you willing to hear this solution, right? And if she's in a mood, maybe. If she's not, hold that tongue, okay? Hold that tongue. Don't give her that tongue. And don't tell her. Don't tell her right there, right? There's a time and place for everything. All right. Y'all talking about mashed potatoes. I'm talking about love, okay? I love mashed potatoes. I love mashed potatoes. I saw TikTok. Sorry. Let's put it on the side. I saw the shit on TikTok, or is it on TikTok? Okay, if you if you eat mashed potatoes, you fat. Then he was like, I don't care if you're 100 pounds, if you're 95 pounds, 50 pounds, 300 pounds. If you eat mashed potatoes, you fat. You fat here, okay? I was like, yeah. It's potatoes mashed up, and you like it, all right? I love it. I love mashed potatoes. Anyways, um, but yeah, refraining yourself from using tones and words that assumes that the other person assumes that you're blaming them, because that's it's a no blame game. You don't blame people. It's English thing. Okay. Um Now, the fourth discipline, and Chevlin, I didn't forget your question. Okay, I got two more after this. Dude. Yo, JR, we're gonna get some fucking mashed potatoes, all right? um, the discipline of telling yourself the truth. Commit to moment awareness of the impact of your state. So, how you feeling, your mental state. If the basis of trust is confidence in your partner, then you must begin with confidence in yourself. So you have to make sure. And what builds confidence? Taking action. Taking action builds confidence and courage. Inaction breeds fear and doubt. So of course, if you don't do it, let's just say you've been hurt too many times, and you're like, well, it happened too many times, I will never find love. Yeah, that's a self fulfilling prophecy. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're not going to find love with that attitude. So you gotta make sure you have that confidence by taking that action, okay? Now, without it, you cannot induce lasting trust in others, okay? And there is no love without trust. So when you can be yourself, others will perceive that, perceive that, and they could see that, and they will build trust in you. So hold true to your generosity with your highest intentions. Okay, it has to be mashed potato, dairy free. And anybody that wants to put Julie on the toilet, you put some lactose in there. All right, number five, the discipline of giving freedom. The discipline of giving freedom. Now, freedom to let go, freedom to let them come and go as they please, freedom to allow them to be who they are. And this is my definition of love, at least as of now. At least for my understanding. Like I said, who knows what happens in a year? Maybe Mitchell will have a little add-on to that. It's like those Google Chrome extensions. So hey, maybe you Mitchell, you might add another Google Chrome extension that's going to be helpful for your life. Okay, but and you have a choice too. If not, don't be with them. Okay. Yeah. You're weighing out your love. Do you love the toilet or you love ice cream? I love being in a toilet after ice cream. All right, my bad. So, the discipline of this is supposed to be a more deeper conversation, but I like where this is going. Um, the power of forgetting, and why drag along the baggage of past mistakes? Aha, Shevlin, got your attention. Why drag along the baggage of your past mistakes from from that guy, right? Whenever we have painful experiences, we learn from them or use them to punish ourselves. Okay, there's two options. Okay, learn from them or punish yourself. Same thing in a relationship. You could focus on a relationship flourishing, or you could have it and not do anything about it and go down. And humans do more to avoid pain than to gain pleasure. Regret weighs ounces. I mean, regret weighs tons. That's sorry. That's Mitchell messed up. Discipline weighs ounces. Regret weighs tons. Okay, that's what I meant. Um, so like I said, humans do more to avoid pain than to gain pleasure. And so most people give up before before they even get anywhere close to that. And so they're like, man, it will never work. So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? People often blame their partners for their past misdeeds or whatever happened to them. If you want passion, you set your partner free, okay? You set them free. See their mistakes from their perspective, consciously harness the good in life and to bring them greater pleasure and intimacy. What's that being said? So I got this from the site, but what that's being said is you allow them to be who they are. Okay, you don't try to control them. You don't try to be like, oh, if you're with me, this is how you need to be. It's like, no, you allow them to, hey, if they want to become better because they really care about you and they see that that is important, so they will try to work on themselves, then yeah, but you don't pressure them into becoming someone that they're not. If you be with me, you have to have this. If you're with me, you have to have that. Like, no, that's not how a relationship works. Relationship is allowing. You let them be who they are. You don't change them. Because otherwise it will be about you again. I want you to have a nice butt. I want you to do this. No. When I find someone, I like to know what do they have to that they could offer me. Meaning, hey, look, I like health. I like fitness. Do they work out? If they don't, probably not going to really work out very well. Unless it's like they're injured, right? But anyways, like do what are their value systems, okay? I don't like doing drugs. Do they do drugs? Yes. Okay. So you're not meant for me. You're not meant for me, but that's okay. Okay? That's not meant for me. So I have a choice on whether or not I want to stay or leave. Now, the problem is most people get into the relationship and trying to change somebody because they're trying to build a bear into building this relationship that does not exist, and then you get resentment. So that does not last. It's not a prosperous it's not a it's not a prosperous relationship. You won't flourish in that. And it feels like you constantly have to work towards it. You want an easy and effortless relationship, someone that has enthusiasm, someone that sees you for who you are and accepts you for who you are. And hey, look, there's 7+ billion people in the world, right? I'm pretty sure you can find someone. Okay, assuming that you're working on yourself too, right? Now, Shevlin, now it's time to answer the 3 P's. The 3 P's. Example, Rose let go of Jack. He was like, you need to go. hmm Yeah, I won't let Jack go. Why won't you let Jack go? Just let him go. Let him go. He wants to be free. All right, let him freeze. Wait, he froze, right? He was the one that's like, and she's all sleeping comfortably on a blanket. No, I'm kidding. I know. So the 3 P's. Feeling. So if you're ever feeling stuck, whenever whenever you're feeling stuck, these are the 3 P's that will get you unstuck. Okay. So the 3 P's. Let's start with the first one, which is thank you, Tony. Tony Robbins, Anthony Robbins. Appreciate you. First P is permanent. Okay? Problems are not permanent, but your brain is conditioned after, consistent disappointments. So everything, and it's easy to fall into that trap of, this is permanent. This will always happen to me. Nothing will ever change because this is what always happens. This is me. So remember what Jim Rohn says, unless you change, nothing else will. Okay, so you have to participate in your own rescue. You have to understand that things are not permanent, and you have to believe that. And how do you believe it? By taking action, by building that confidence and building that courage, so that it doesn't, so then you don't stick with that. And just like seasons, nothing ever changes. And just like a relationship, nothing ever changes. When you get into a relationship, in the beginning of the relationship, it is always usually, right? It's super, I love you, you love me. There's high enthusiasm. You're skipping, you're jumping for joy, and then later on down the line, the relationship is not as exciting, right? It's not as that. And just like the weather, things change. Nothing stays the same. Okay? And that's a season of life. So, number 1, the first P is permanent. Things aren't permanent. So, if you're feeling stuck in a relationship or anywhere in your life, for a job, your health or whatever, nothing's permanent. Okay? Number 2 is pervasive. And I didn't know what pervasive was, so Mitchell went on dictionary.com. And so pervasive is basically, it's unwelcome influence or physical effect of spreading it widely throughout an area of a group. So for example, I'm ugly and I'm unwanted, so everywhere else in my life sucks. Okay? So, let me share an example. There was a time when I wasn't feeling my best, and I felt like I hit rock bottom. And after I felt like I hit rock bottom, I felt like everywhere in my life I wasn't good at anything. Like, oh, Mitchell, you don't know how to dance anymore. It's like, no, Mitchell, you know how to move. It's like, you're not bad. You're actually good at dancing, so you're not bad at it. It's just because you feel bad about yourself now and you can't lift yourself up. That's part of pervasive. And that bled into other areas of my life where I'm not mentally healthy. So I was like, well, I'm not healthy, I'm not fit. It's like, Mitchell, like, you're more fit compared to 2/3 of the population. So you're not the most fit, but you're not unfit. So it's like not allowing it to bleed into other areas of your life. That's pervasive. So usually that's part of being stuck, right? That's the second P. And let's see. Just because you're not good in one area does not mean you're not good in different areas, right? Part of this is knowing your worth. And so, hey, we all have that feeling when we feel like nothing is going well for us, everything sucks, everyone's against me. That's like spreading it. Number 1 is like thinking it's permanent and it bleeding other areas to your life. Third P is close, personal. Not really, you're not close. That's a good try though. I appreciate it. All right, so number 3 is personal. I wouldn't have guessed that on my own, but I probably would have guessed that too. So number 3 is being personal. That's the third P. You think the problem is you. I'm not good enough. I'm not good looking enough. I'm not smart enough. It's not about you. And when people apply these 3, or when you're feeling stuck and you understand these 3 P's, you're like, it's not permanent. This feeling. So say for example, right? As simple as I failed a test, it doesn't mean I'm bad, or I get a low grade point average, or my test scores does not come back exactly how I wanted it. I thought I studied more. I thought I knew it, but I guess I didn't. Then you take it too personal, and you're like, oh, this is me. I'm just not good at it. I'm not good. I'm not smart, right? I'm not smart enough. I'm not good looking enough. And then you think it's permanent, and you're like, I will always be dumb. I will always be like this, right? And you're like, well, since I'm bad at this, I suck at everything. So of course you're gonna be stuck. But if you are feeling stuck, just know that problems are not permanent. It doesn't bleed into other areas of your life, and that's not personal. That's not personal to you. So what I am saying is you do have a choice to change. And so, you know, Shevelin, to answer your question about what's going on, it's not that that problem is not your problem if they are always consistently bombarding you with their past because they feel insecure. Now, the only thing that you can do at that point is, hey, look, whoever that is, honey, baby, whatever, right? Let them know, hey, you know what? I do care about you, and I do want you to feel better. And how can I help and how can I support you in that? Now, I do want to note this. Not everybody wants that. Not everybody. Just because you want a better life for yourself, it doesn't mean that they want it. Okay? Cuz look at it. You've been here over a year and you've been consistently working on yourself. When was the last time that they did it? Think about that. So it's not about you. It's not about you. It's about them. That's their insecurity. That's them blaming you. Oh, all people are like this, right? Hey, when I got cheated on before, I thought all women are like this. They all cheaters. Like, no, no, they're not. You just got with a cheater that does not value loyalty, right? When something goes down, they go somewhere else and try to get attention from other people. Like, is that the type of person that I want? Is that the type of person I want to be with? Is that the person that is me? Now, if I can't even provide that, how can I expect my partner to have that? How can I expect my spouse to have that? I can't. So you have to be there to meet up. What do you bring to the table, right? So, a really good there was this somewhere on YouTube where there's this lady, and I was like, wow, that's I've never heard a lady say this, but she was like, I want this. I want a guy that's 6 feet tall. I want a guy that at least makes six figures. I want this. She was like, but I'm not even there to put things on a table to even do I even deserve that? Am I even worthy of that right now? I think I'm worthy of it, but right now at this current time, no, I'm not because I didn't work towards that. So what I need to do, I need to work my way up so that I can build myself up, right? So it's just and it doesn't happen in a day, right? It happens with consistency, having a system, right? And that's how you change that behavior. So it all starts from thoughts becomes emotions, emotions becomes feelings inside, and feelings is what creates a behavior. And there's progressions to behavior, and it starts with one, what is your outcome, what are you getting out of it, what's the process, what is your process, it's what you do and how you do it, and then it would become your identity. And once it becomes who you are, it solidifies you, right? And you're no longer once it's your identity, you're not gonna be easily swayed by someone thinking like, oh, you ain't shit. It's like I have people telling me, Mitchell, ever since you started trying to educate yourself and you've been doing these podcasts, you think you're the shit. It's like, no, I never said that. I'm just not taking your shit, and that's why you feel that way, and that's okay. You have you have the right to however you feel about me, but I know that that is not true, and so my reality is stronger than theirs. And once my reality is so strong that they cannot move me from my center because I truly believe in what I do and what I believe in, they start questioning their own reality. They're like, okay, what I just said did not sway Mitchell. Like, am I wrong? Is something wrong with me? But that's not my job. My job isn't trying to fix them. My job is to educate if they want it, right? And what I can do is gently lead. So, Shevelin, in in your situation, the best thing that you can do is to support. But you don't want to give in support to someone that's not willing to do it themselves. So, going back to our previous episodes was, are they Are they ready, willing, and able to do that? And if any one of them is a no, then why would you want to waste the energy onto that person that's not willing to do it? You might as well put that energy into better use, to yourself, to improving yourself and being better, right? And that's the best way that you could do it. Your kids will thank you for it, especially when they grow up. They'll be like, mommy was like this, and mommy, you know, mommy made sure that I was okay, and mommy made sure that when things are difficult, it's she doesn't stay there, right? And of course, kids won't be thinking that now, but when they get older, it's like mommy always found a way to make things okay. She always does, right? And and that will bleed into their areas of their life, and they're gonna be like, wow, um, if she could do it, I could do it too, right? Mommy's strong, right? But it's not about being strong. It's being vulnerable, right? That's love penetrates if you love yourself. Jr, thank you for staying on, man. I'm about to head out right now too, but yeah, I got a few more minutes, but those are the three P's, and that's five discipline of love, and those are my thoughts of today. Yes, some of it was coming from education, but I would say majority of it was me educating myself, and thank you for allowing me to share that with you guys too as well, so that I'm allowing myself to learn. So I'm being open to being wrong in this sense where, hey, maybe a year from now, Mitchell, your definition is maybe it's an add-on, or maybe Mitchell, you were completely wrong, or maybe you're 15% wrong, or whatever. But it's being okay with that, and it's when you allow yourself to be vulnerable and not saying like, oh, I suck and this is how life is and this is permanent. uh, then you're allowing yourself growth, right? And when you allow yourself growth, you see things differently, right? And that's seeing with your mind. When you see with your mind, when you see with your eyes, you see things. You see with your mind, you see answers. So um that is my show for today. Disciplines of Love, Tony Robbins. If you want to go check him out, he's all over the place. He's on YouTube. That's where I love watching him. uh Getting a lot of valuable advice. um Much love, y'all. See you in the future. Updated future. All right, man. Have a good night. Yeah. And Chevelin, you're welcome. You're welcome. I hope that advice that I was giving to you was helpful, because it's not your job to fix them. Okay? That's not your job. Your job is to be there for them. But if they're not even for themselves, how can you really bring them up? You don't want to you want a lover, right? You don't want to babysit that lover. You don't want to be that mommy for that lover. You want a guy that knows that, hey, you know what? I'm not okay right now, but thank you for supporting me. I know you always have my back. I will be okay. I'm just not in the right mindset right now, and that's being vulnerable, right? Um, but I'll be okay. And knowing that I have a person like you by my side is very important, and you just make things so much lighter and easier. Like, thank you, and that's the support. But men, we have egos. I don't need no help. I ain't need no therapy, right? It's not about that. It's about being understanding. It is helpful. I still need to calibrate myself, a better version on me. Good, good. And I think it's because you're open to always being understanding, and that's very important to have. Most people won't have that, and uh, yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I would say even in a year, at least for me, I want to know how my definitions of this will change or not, or is it an add-on? Am I wrong? You know what I mean? But I think for the most part, not that I hit the nail on the head, but I have the right idea, right? So no blame game, no blame game. It's about them, okay? And be, go where you're celebrated, not where you're being tolerated. And I think that's huge. That's very important. And yeah, with that being said, thank you guys. Thank you, Chevlin, Cheeky Julie, JR, and whoever's watching this on the replay. Thank you for staying as long as you did. I really appreciate your time. If you guys do find this video content of value, you guys could show your appreciation. I do have a Patreon. You can get me a coffee. I don't think coffee's $1.50 anymore, but it's there. Any support will help. If you share it with your friends, that means more. That means more to me, actually. So if this advice helped you, you know, you did it yourself. You did it yourself. So that being said, I catch you guys on the next episode. I'm gonna go get some food. Okay, I'm gonna get some food. I want some mashed potatoes and some cherry pie. All right.